and dug a hole in the boy's neck and then lived inside his body. In order to avoid being discovered by his classmates, he could only seal the hole with a band-aid. Because of the appearance of these ants, Ryan's appetite has greatly increased. He has to eat constantly every day. At the same time, this also brought Ryan great strength. Even if he encounters the fiercest bug beast, he can easily defeat it. Although he is hiding very well, he is also under investigation by the Reaper. Just now, he killed a terrifying bug beast on campus. After Ryan let the ants inside his body eat the bug beast's body, the Reaper department has arrived here. Looking at the scene of desolation, the two hunters couldn't help but feel that they had prepared for so long in vain. They had no difficulty in noticing that this was a battle between two bug beasts. But bug beasts generally do not kill each other of the same species. What exactly happened between them? At this moment, the captain suddenly remembered something. The female bug beast that appeared in the alley a couple of days ago. The only survivor said that she was taken out by a black ant boy. At this moment, the staff informed the captain that the rescued injured person saved by the bug beast has woken up. Soon, the two of them arrived at Nami's side. Nami recounted what happened at that time. It was a black-armored person who saved her. Are you sure the one who saved you was human? Nami is not sure, but that man in black was definitely different from other bug beasts. By simple questioning, Captain feels that this man in black should be someone Nami knows. So he asked Nami if there were any students absent at the time. Nami replied that indeed there was one. The only student who left on time was Ryan. Ryan has now returned home. Grandma greeted him warmly and invited him to have dinner. Seeing such a sumptuous meal, Ryan felt a little helpless because he had just eaten a whole bug beast. He could only tell Grandma that he had already eaten. Grandma was first surprised to hear this. She immediately asked Ryan if he was hurt. Ryan just felt like he had let Grandma down. Grandma said as long as he was okay, that's all that mattered. She quickly told him to rest well. Watching Ryan walk into the room, Grandma couldn't hold back anymore. Tears fell involuntarily. Why let my child suffer like this? At this moment, Aunt Orderly crawled in through the window. Ryan lay quietly on the bed, listening to the bug beast report from school during the day, letting those ants crawl one by one into the hole on his neck. At this moment, in an abandoned construction site in the outskirts, several soldiers looking for a missing child came here. Leader carefully directed everyone to climb the stairs. When he saw the situation in the room, he was stunned. He saw things resembling silkworm cocoons suspended in the air. At this time, another car arrived here. The people sitting in the car are from the Reaper squad. Raphael, who is in the driver's seat, seems a bit impatient. He doesn't understand why the higher-ups sent those soldiers out. On the other side, Joel is telling him to be more understanding. After all, their department is still under review. The police have priority in the investigation scene. Just at that moment, the communicator in the car rang with a request for assistance. Just now, the soldiers were anxiously rescuing the child. They took down the silkworm cocoon without authorization. The leader opened the silkworm cocoon and saw that indeed it contained the child. In a hurry, the squad mate opened another silkworm cocoon just as he was feeling doubtful. His head was instantly pierced by something inside. A humanoid mosquito bug beast appeared before everyone. The leader watched as the bug beast failed to recover from the blow delivered by Ryan. Another squanate quickly raised his gun and fired at the bug beast. But the bug beast instantly turned into a residual image and disappeared. When it reappeared, it had already pierced through the body of that squanmate. The bug beast then immediately turned around and stabbed towards the leader again. Suddenly, a gunshot interrupted the bug beast's attack. Its hard needle was also pierced by the bullet. It turns out it was coming from the signal tower in the distance. Joel had long been waiting with a sniper rifle, but the bug beast's speed was too fast. He failed to hit the vital spot. The bug beast that was attacked is extremely angry. Then it charged towards the leader again. Fortunately, Raphael appeared in time and blocked the bug beast's attack. Then he casually knocked the bug beast away with a stick. The bug beast was heavily hit into the wall. Taking this opportunity, the captain had someone take the child away first. How could the bug beast easily give up its food? It angrily rushed towards the child. The captain simply spat out a light green smoke upon seeing this. The bug beast, upon smelling the cigarette smoke, instantly collapsed to the ground. Captain then inquired, "What is your purpose in capturing these children?" Bug beast pulled Needle aside and asked what the food was being prepared to eliminate the black ant. The two of them didn't quite understand what it was saying. While the two were not paying attention, the bug beast spit out several darts from its mouth towards them. Captain spit out smoke again. The dart miraculously stopped in midair. Raphael also waved the stick in his hand to block the attack. The bug beast knew it was no match for the two of them. It took the opportunity to fly out the window. Captain quickly reminded Joel to take a shot. However, Joel lacked experience. He was hit by several darts and fell to the ground. The two people inside the house could only watch helplessly as the bug beast escaped. On the other side, Nami was sitting on a chair in the park. She couldn't help but feel furious when she saw Eric being praised in the phone. Because her good friend Alice is lying in the hospital disfigured. It's because Eric pulled her at that time. Suddenly, a masked boy appeared and startled Nami. But then, he was scolded by Nami. The boy could only cry and go to find his mother to complain. She is obviously very ladylike. Why does this noisy young brother appear when Nami turns back again? She found out Ryan had arrived here at some point. Ryan also noticed Nami beside him. So the three of them sat down and ate ice cream together. After finishing the ice cream, young brother ran off to play with another child. The boy accidentally kicked the ball out of bounds. Young brother said he would go look for the ball together with the boy. Then he followed him through the hole in the barrier net. Ryan seemed to notice something. He asked Nami to wait here, outside the barrier net. Ryan held back young brother, who was about to climb out, and told him to go back to find his sister. He then looked for something in the woods. Soon he found another boy holding a soccer ball. The boy thought he had met a friendly peer and approached. Ryan ignored the boy and tore off the band-aid from his neck. Suddenly, a dense swarm of ants crawled out of Ryan's body. The boy's face instantly showed a look of shock. Looking at Ryan wrapped in black ant, he recognized that this was the fellow hunter Black Ant. The boy angrily crushed the football in his hand. Then, he accused Black Ant of various crimes. "You, the guy who violated Bug Beast rules. How dare you attack the same species? Watch me destroy you." After speaking, the boy gathered strength in place. His body disappeared in an instant in the original place, leaving only the shattered mask behind. At this moment, the boy had already turned into Mosquito Beast, and he rushed towards Ryan on the side. Ryan didn't have time to dodge, and was hit in the head. Inside the broken armor, Ryan's cold half-face was revealed. Bug Beast's blow injured Black Ant with ease. He couldn't help but feel a bit inflated. He looked at the unmoving Ryan. Bug Beast shuttled around him, showing off his speed. Ryan scratched his head with an indifferent look on his face. Then he punched Bug Beast to the ground with one punch. Shortly after, Ryan walked out of the jungle. He arrived next to Nami, and the two of them. He told young brother that the ball had been found. The person had also been sent away. They were unaware that the Bug Beast was being slowly savored by Ryan's ant. The boy had a hole dug in his neck by the ant. He lived inside. He has to provide a large amount of food for the ant every day. Otherwise, those ants will go crazy and bite him from the inside. The feeling is unbearable. At the same time, the ant also provided Ryan with great power. Earlier, there was a Bug Beast incident in the class where Ryan was. After a week's suspension of classes, everyone was reassigned to classes and returned to school. At this moment in the school classroom, Eric was still bragging about how brave he was at that time. He completely forgot that it was him who dragged Alice into the abyss back then. Nami beside her wanted to kick him in the face. However, the cool girl sitting next to her couldn't stand it anymore. She stood up and gave Eric a kick in the stomach. Eric was stunned by her actions. "Your trash is too noisy." Nami learned from the talk of everyone that no one dared to provoke the girl named Clara in the class. Just as Clara was about to leave, Ryan, who was walking towards her, blocked her way. The two of them stared at each other. Both seemed to sense something. After a long while, Ryan took the lead and entered the classroom. He sat down right next to Nami. Then he snacked while listening to the other person describing Clara's cool behavior. Suddenly, Ryan noticed that there were bug beasts lurking nearby. When Nami wanted to invite Ryan for lunch, she found that he had already disappeared without a trace. At this time, Ryan had already climbed over the wall and left the campus. On the other side, two reapers are heading towards the school. They couldn't find any trace of the mosquito beast anywhere, and there have been no more incidents of children disappearing. Little did they know, the mosquito beast had already been eaten by Ryan. At this moment, Ryan suddenly rushed out from the alley. He accidentally bumped into Captain. Captain looked pensive as he watched Ryan's anxious appearance, but he did not pursue the matter further. Then the two of them continued walking towards the campus. In fact, their purpose for this trip was to find Ryan. Nami told them that Ryan had just left. The two of them also realized that the student they had just met might be him. So they took out a business card and handed it to Nami, hoping she would pass it on to Ryan. Then they hurriedly left the place. At the same time, underneath an overpass, a humanoid mantis is tightly pressed against the wall. It seems to be waiting for someone in the darkness. Soon, a figure slowly appears. The newcomer is Black Ant Ryan. Ryan follows the scent and locates the mantis beast, seeing the target appear. The mantis then slowly descends from the wall. It waves at Ryan, as if saying, "Come on over." Ryan wasted no words. He suddenly exerted force with his legs and charged straight towards the mantis. But Ryan's attack was not only easily evaded by the mantis. His own arm was also hit by the sickle and flew off, deformed. Then Mantis heavily kicked Ryan in the chest with its hind leg. Ryan hadn't stabilized his position yet. Mantis charged towards him again. Little did they know that this was a flaw deliberately exposed by Ryan. He landed a heavy punch on Mantis's face. The beaten Mantis swayed his body like a puppet, looking very strange. Ryan was also a bit confused by its movements. After careful observation, Ryan suddenly found his ant suspended behind him. Someone must be manipulating the mantis beast with silk from behind. To confirm his suspicion, he dispersed some of the ants in his hands. Then, he exerted force, and threw the ant towards the mantis. Faced with the flying ant, the mantis remained motionless. But these ants were not meant to attack it in the first place. The ants climbed up along the silk. The manipulator behind the scenes had no choice but to cut off the silk, causing the silk mantis beast to fall to the ground. Just as Ryan was puzzled, looking at the silk in his hand, to his surprise, the body of the mantis beast moved again. Its head suddenly turned towards Ryan. Soon after, it opened its big mouth, revealing a bomb inside that was about to explode. The smoke generated by the explosion instantly engulfed Ryan. Immediately, two bug beasts from behind the scenes walked out. At this moment, Ryan was leaning against the wall with great difficulty. It was obvious that he was quite injured. Judging from the momentum emanating from the two bug beasts, Ryan was probably in deep trouble this time. Silk Ant stepped forward and placed a foot on Ryan's shoulder. "Finally, we've caught you. Don't you like protecting humans? Did you also kill Mosquito Beast?" Faced with the enemy's questions, Ryan chose to remain silent. At this moment, Explosive Ant also walked over. "Just because of you, we lost access to fresh meat. You must pay the price for this." Saying so, Explosive Ant raised its arm and aimed at Ryan. But unexpectedly, Silk Ant took action first. She kicked and shattered Ryan's head. However, she found that Ryan's real body was not inside. It was just an empty shell. The explosive ant on the side suddenly reminded her to be careful. It turns out that Ryan, who had retreated from his armor, had already jumped above them. He fiercely smashed towards the head of Silk Ant. After landing, he exerted force with his toes. His body quickly charged towards Explosive Ant. Ryan's movements were like flowing clouds and running water, done in one go. He made Explosive Ant retreat repeatedly with his attacks. In the end, unable to withstand Ryan's attacks, Explosive Ant took a heavy punch. However, Explosive Ant also took advantage of this opportunity to retreat and shot the missile in his hand towards Ryan. The shot hit Ryan solidly, but the armor on his arm blocked most of the damage. Ryan knew he couldn't give the opponent a chance to catch their breath. He raised his fist again and swung it towards Explosive Ant. Just as his fist was a few centimeters away from Explosive Ant, his arm was entwined by several thin blue threads. He could no longer move forward even a tiny bit. It turned out that he was being controlled by the Silk Ant behind him. Then the Silk Ant jumped into the air, its body spinning continuously. He used a thin thread to pull Ryan towards himself. Finally, he delivered a powerful spinning kick to Ryan's head. Although Ryan blocked the strike with his armored arm, the tremendous impact still caused blood to flow from his mouth and nose. He flew several dozen meters away as well. In the end, Ryan knelt on the ground. Explosive Ant took advantage of Ryan's temporary loss of consciousness. He aimed the energy cannon in his hand at Ryan's head. The charging process was about to end. Ryan suddenly woke up. The uneasy Ryan immediately shouted at Armor's location. "Move." Black Ant quickly obeyed Ryan's command and disintegrated rapidly. Afterwards, they transformed into black substances and converged towards Ryan. However, at this moment, Explosive Ant had completed charging. Without hesitation, it pulled the trigger towards Ryan's head. The explosive target turned out to be the underside of the bridge above him. It turned out to be Raphael, who arrived just in time. He used the stick in his hand to change the trajectory of the cannonball. He didn't forget to mock afterwards. "Is this to welcome the fireworks I set off?" He immediately waved the stick in his hand to drive away the enemy. Two bug beasts gathered together, as if facing a formidable enemy. "Because the captain of the Reaper squad has also arrived here. Let me be your opponent. You trash." Explosive Ant sensed that this person was not simple. He took out a ball from the cannon. The two persons felt that something was wrong at the sight. Before the two persons could react, Explosive Ant smashed the ball to the ground. A large amount of thick smoke instantly enveloped several people. Silk Ant took the opportunity to drag Explosive Ant and flew away. Raphael couldn't help but complain that these flying bug beasts were too disgusting. Captain stood there with a look of embarrassment. But fortunately, when they tried to catch Black Ant, they found that Black Ant was also missing. Night fell in the blink of an eye. Ryan slowly supported his injured body and walked home while leaning on the wall. The first thing he did when he got home was to ask Grandma to prepare a table of delicious food. Looking at Ryan, who was covered in injuries, Grandma burst into tears and asked while sobbing, "Did you not eat anything today?" Ryan did not hide anything and admitted that he didn't catch anything today. "So I want to eat more." Even though he knew it wouldn't make any difference. After finishing the meal, Ryan returned to the room. The first thing he did was to lock himself in. Then he began to roar softly, as if welcoming immense pain. When he tore open his shirt, his body was covered with dense red spots. These red spots are spreading at a rate visible to the naked eye. This is when the ants inside him are gnawing at his flesh and blood. Human food other than bug beasts cannot satisfy them. The torment, both mentally and physically, is making Ryan suffer unbearably. The boy's body is filled with ants. He does his best to prevent these ants from running around everywhere. He can only use band-aids to seal the holes. Although the ant gave him superpowers. But he has to prepare bug beasts as food for them every day. Just now, Ryan was looking for bugs for nutrition. He was ambushed by 2 advanced bug beasts. He almost lost his life. Although in the end, he managed to drag his injured body back home. But he couldn't eat the ant of the bug beast, which was tearing at him crazily inside his body. The mental and physical torment made Ryan wish he were dead. Meanwhile, in an abandoned factory, a mysterious woman wearing protective gear is dragging 3 body bags forward. She puts these 3 body bags into the freezer. Just as she is about to put the last one in, she discovers that the person in the bag is reaching out to her for help. But she still puts it into the freezer. No matter how the other person shouted, she still heartlessly closed the hatch. Afterwards, she went to the warehouse to take off her protective gear. This person is none other than the cool Clara from Ryan's class. Next to Clara, there is an old man. The old man is complaining because the appearance of the Reaper squad prevented them from capturing the Black Ant, which led to them failing to ally with the Skyworm organization. From here, it can be seen that the 2 bug beasts that ambushed Ryan during the day belonged to him. Later, the old man said he wanted to increase the reserve of food, but Clara refused. She doesn't like doing this kind of thing. However, the old man suddenly realized that Clara was wearing the same school uniform as the Black Ant. "Do you know each other?" Clara quickly denied it, and then she refused again. Her own goal was not that. But before she could finish her words, the old man grabbed Clara's neck. He reminded Clara that in order to cooperate with the Skyworm organization, they must eliminate Black Ant. At this time, the barking outside suddenly caught the attention of the 2 people. They looked out through the window. A person with a number on his body is running outside. Old man immediately pulled up the surveillance footage. He found that the person was the one who ran out of the freezer. Old man turned to Clara and asked if she had forgotten to lock the door. Clara hesitantly replied, "Maybe." After hearing this, the old man's right hand started to transform into a bug, and he walked towards Clara. "It's better to tell the truth." Clara, seeing this, immediately said she couldn't do it anymore. She wanted to part ways with the old man. The old man then lightly pressed his thumb onto his index finger. At the same time, the man who was running outside stopped his body. A faint light emitted from his chest. Then, the man was engulfed in the explosion. Following that, the old man raised his thumb again. The same light also appeared in front of Clara's chest. Old man said coldly with a stern look, "Killing Black Ant is an order." The next day at noon, Ryan was eating in the cafeteria like a starving ghost. Nami on the side felt that Ryan was eating more than usual. Ryan completely ignored the eyes of others. He stuffed food into his mouth desperately. Suddenly, his pupils contracted. The spoon also fell on the ground, because the ant inside him started to crazily devour his flesh and blood. Nami couldn't help but worry when she saw how uncomfortable Ryan looked. At this point, the annoying Eric came over to seek death. "Ryan, what's wrong with you? Are you a pig, eating so much by yourself?" Nami on the side wants to help Ryan break free. He usually eats the amount of food for 10 people. Most people can't eat the amount of food for 10 people. Or maybe you're not human to begin with. The people around cast strange glances after hearing that, including Clara, who entered later. Eric has not yet realized the seriousness of the situation. He is mocking Ryan like crazy. Little did he know he was already on the brink of losing control. Just at this moment, another ant fiercely pierced into Ryan's flesh. Ryan's body shuddered. He grabbed the chatty Eric. Then Eric was slowly lifted up in the air like a little chicken. Just as Ryan was about to take down Eric, his companion Nami timely stopped him. Regaining his senses, Ryan threw him out in one swift motion. Then he left without looking back. In the blink of an eye, he ran to the rooftop. At this moment, the ant inside his body ran uncontrollably outward. Ryan howled in pain. The gathered ants formed another head. They sought to take control of Ryan's body. At this moment, the accompanying Clara suddenly appeared behind Ryan. "Are you trying to let everyone know you are the Black Ant?" She said she meant no harm. At the same time, her body began to bugificate. Seeing Clara fully bugified, Ryan's hunger became even stronger. Then his body uncontrollably rushed towards Clara. Clara was seen putting her hands together. Then she condensed strands of blue silk in her hands. The two instantly started fighting. The battle was about to begin. The scene changed, and Ryan slowly opened his eyes. He found his body covered with ants. His limbs were firmly held by 4 huge ants. Just as Ryan was screaming in pain, a larger ant slowly appeared behind Ryan. The giant ant aimed its pincers at Ryan's head, just as it was about to strike Ryan with its tusk. A red ant suddenly rushed out from the side and saved Ryan. In the blink of an eye, it had eliminated all the black ants. When he woke up again, he found himself lying in bed, and the pain on his body was no longer there. He only remembered meeting Clara, who had turned into a silk ant, on the rooftop. He learned from Grandma that it was Clara who carried him back last night. It looks like she also suffered quite a bit of damage. Ryan was confused why Clara was still alive. Wasn't his aunt quiet because he ate Clara? Suddenly, Ryan noticed that bug beasts were lurking nearby again. He had an image of the old man in his mind. He couldn't hear what Grandma was saying to him at all. Old man asked Clara out and immediately blamed her for messing things up. Clara said she had done her best, but old man was not satisfied. He asked her to deal with Black Ant as soon as possible. Clara was furious upon hearing this. That guy is a monster. If you think you can handle it, you go do it. I don't want to die. Old man's expression turned fierce upon hearing this. But at that moment, their argument was interrupted by footsteps behind them. A dark figure slowly emerged from under the bridge. The person approaching was none other than Black Ant, who had tracked them by scent. Ryan and Clara reacted as if facing a great enemy and immediately activated their beautification mode. Don't disappoint me this time. Just after Old Man finished speaking, Clara took the lead and charged forward. Clara lifted her right leg and kicked hard towards Ryan, but he easily deflected the blow. At the same time, Ryan's ant swiftly gathered onto his hand. The massive fist smashed heavily onto Clara's body. The force of this punch directly broke Clara's armor. Clara, who was seriously injured, clearly realized that he had grown stronger again. But Ryan did not continue to attack Clara. Instead, he walked towards the explosive ant on the side, but Clara suddenly grabbed Ryan's leg from behind. Are you sympathizing with me, pitying me? Then she angrily shouted at Ryan. If even you can't catch him, how can I seek revenge on Skyworm Organization? At this moment, Explosive Ant slowly raised her thumb and said, Clara, now you really look like a pitiful bug. Seeing Explosive Ant's actions, Clara panicked. She shouted at him to stop. When Explosive Ant saw that Clara had no value to him, he revealed the truth. Do you think I would really help you seek revenge? Everything I did was to be able to join the Skyworm Organization. Upon learning the truth, Clara roared in madness. I did so many dirty things for you. In the end, am I destined to die in despair? Explosive Ant doesn't want to listen to her nonsense. She's about to press the thumb button. But at this moment, Ryan suddenly disappeared on the spot. Explosive Ant couldn't see Ryan's position at all. But at this moment, there was suddenly an explosion beside Clara. A dark figure flashed by in an instant. It quickly headed towards Explosive Ant. However, Explosive Ant sneered. You can't escape my heatwave minefield. Soon, he couldn't laugh anymore, as the force of the explosion couldn't catch up with Ryan's speed. Seeing the situation turning unfavorable, Explosive Ant fired the missile in his hand towards Ryan. But Ryan easily dodged the attack. Then, Explosive Ant prepared to detonate the bomb on Clara to get Ryan's attention by pressing his thumb. But before he could react, Ryan grabbed his arm. When he tried to press it, he found that he couldn't control his body, as Ryan had already removed his head. When Clara saw Ryan again, she found that he had evolved into a completely new form. Countless ants crawled out of the boy's body. These ants will bite, and tear at Ryan's flesh as long as they can't reach the bug beast. The mental and physical torment is making Ryan's life unbearable. On this day, Ryan fell into an ambush by explosive ants while hunting bug beasts. He almost lost his life without even catching the bug beast. But the next day, Ryan's wound inexplicably healed. That night, when he found the 2 bug beasts that ambushed him before, Ryan awakened a new form during the battle. He easily took down the explosive ant. Clara was also shocked by Ryan's strength. He dealt with her explosive ant that had been bothering her all along. Ryan looked pensive at his body. Then he gave the command to ant to eat it. As soon as the words fell, Ryan slowly returned to his original form. Without eating bug beast for 2 days, ant began to devour the body of explosive ant frantically. Clara was scared by this cruel scene and widened her eyes. At this moment, Ryan also walked to her side. He looked at her indifferently. Clara closed her eyes, waiting for death to come. But Ryan did not make a move against her. He walked straight past her. However, Clara did not respond with anger, but instead remained calm. "Are you also harboring some other motives by keeping me around, you scoundrel? Are you also looking to oppose the Skyworm organization like me?" Ryan stopped in his tracks at the sound of the words. He turned around and asked lightly what had happened on the rooftop. Clara looked a little confused when asked, "Do you really not remember?" It turns out that the 2 of them dueled on the rooftop at that time. Ryan quickly knocked Clara down with just a few moves. At this moment, Ryan is aggressively suppressing Black Ant's desire for food. But he was still freed from Ant's restraints and rushed towards Clara. At this critical moment, Ryan timely grabbed Black Ant by the neck and stopped. This one cannot be eaten. The food in front of his eyes couldn't be reached by his mouth. Black Ant angrily turned his head. Then it opened its huge bloody mouth towards Ryan. Fortunately, Clara acted in time. She managed to control the Black Ant that was going to eat Ryan. But Clara knew she couldn't hold on for much longer. But at that moment, a mutated ant inside Ryan's body, accompanied by a scream from Ryan. The huge Black Ant disappeared instantly. Ryan also fainted and lost consciousness. Right when Clara was undecided whether to finish off Ryan or not. But she thought that maybe he could help fight against the Skyworm organization, so she sent Ryan back home. After what just happened, Ryan had no doubt about it. Clara seizes the opportunity. She wants to take advantage of the situation to pull him in to scheme against the Skyworm organization. You just took out the reserve food supply chain of the explosive and Skyworm organization, causing it to be cut off. Not only you will be affected by that time, your friends and family will also be in danger. Only with the 2 of us cooperating can we have a better chance of winning. Ryan interrupted Clara's conversation by taking a step forward. He then grabs Clara's hand, which is full of ants. You are just looking for a backer because of your lack of ability. But I am different from you. As long as those guys dare to come, I'll just eat them all. As soon as the words fell, Ryan grabbed Clara by the neck. Countless ants crawled into Clara's mouth. After a long time, Clara slowly opened her eyes. It turns out that Ryan did this just to help her get rid of the bomb inside her body. In the blink of an eye, it was the 3rd day. The Reaper squad sealed off the accident scene. Just as the intern picked up the leftover prosthetic limb of the explosive ant, suddenly a small pill fell out from inside. Before the intern could see clearly what it was, there is a stranger outside the quarantine zone trying to break in. Long-haired man quickly subdued the person and kindly advised him to leave. But the man just raised his hand lightly. He then chopped off one arm of the long-haired man. The long-haired man let out a heart-wrenching scream instantly. Realizing the threat of the newcomer, everyone pulled out their weapons and prepared for battle. The man not only did not feel nervous, but he also had an excited expression on his face. He punched and immediately burst one member of the Reaper squad. In the blink of an eye, only this intern was left. But in the end, he still couldn't escape the man's clutches. The man then picked up the capsule on the ground. Then he made a phone call. He said that the sample collection was completed. Upon closer inspection, the sample turned out to be an egg. On the other side, Ryan was teaching in the classroom as usual. Clara utilizes Silk's ability to shoot out a paper note. The paper note flies past Nami's eyes. It fell into Ryan's hands. The paper note reads, "Meet downstairs after class." Soon, the two of them arrived as agreed. Upon seeing Ryan so awkward, Clara couldn't help but tease him. "Is this your first time talking to a girl like this?" Ryan said nothing. Instead, he directly asked her the purpose of summoning him. Clara simply wanted to express her gratitude for his mercy in not killing her yesterday. Then she invited Ryan again to fight against the Skyworm organization. But Ryan told her not to misunderstand. "You are just my emergency rations. You could be eaten at any time." After saying that, he was about to rip off the band-aid. Although Clara was scared and shaking all over. But she still reminded Ryan, "Have you forgotten what I said? You are already a target of the Skyworm organization. I will help you." But Ryan doesn't want to listen to her nonsense anymore. He pushed her away directly. Little did they know, all of this was seen by Nami upstairs. She doesn't know when the two of them got together. In her eyes, the two seemed to be flirting. This made Nami somewhat jealous. Looking back at the Reaper squad, in order to improve the survival ability of the team members, they have developed mecha specifically to deal with bug beasts. The one used as an experimental subject is Raphael from the squad. For a more precise test, Mecha Captain told Raphael not to use his own weapons. Raphael, who is used to using a stick, looks at the current lightsaber with disdain on his face. At this time, the opponent who is going to fight him also walked out from the other side. But Mr. looks sickly, and doesn't seem to have much strength. But he immediately gets excited when he hears that he can defeat his opponent. In the blink of an eye, Mr. disappeared from the spot. Raphael didn't have time to react. Mr., who had turned into Bug Beast, was already behind him. Raphael quickly blocked and leveraged his strength to create distance. Seeing that he had not suffered any substantial damage, Raphael was very satisfied with his defense against Mecha. However, at this moment, Bug Beast was circling Raphael at a speed of 300 kilometers per hour. Seeing that the timing was right, Bug Beast gathered its strength and threw a punch towards Raphael. Although Raphael managed to block Bug Beast's terrifying blow, cracks had also clearly appeared on the armor of his arm. However, relying on years of combat experience, Raphael managed to wound Bug Beast with a backhand strike. He then delivered a heavy kick and created some distance. However, Mecha's arm has also been broken. Bug Beast saw this and excitedly rushed towards him again. At this moment, Raphael had lost his combat ability. He crazily sought help from the people outside. But before he could finish his sentence, he was grabbed by the Bug Beast around his neck. Raphael struggled desperately. Was he really going to die in the lab? A huge electrical flow suddenly shocked the Bug Beast, making it scream loudly. Soon it lost consciousness. It turned out that in a life-threatening situation, Mecha would release a 100,000-volt electrical attack to defeat the enemy. Afterward, the Bug Beast was dragged away by the lasso once again. He didn't forget to taunt Raphael as he left, saying, "Next time, I will definitely take you down." Captain also left here after the battle ended. He came to the archives. He actually found the Skyworm organization's leader Brad here. This beauty is actually not human. I only saw her spit out a yellow egg from her mouth. Then she pinched Alice's chin. Then she fed the egg into the other person's mouth. Alice also turned into an ugly Bug Beast as a result. She became a pawn of the Skyworm organization. At this moment, Clara finally revealed her true intentions in order to cooperate with Ryan. In fact, her goal is not the Skyworm organization, but their leader, Brad. He suddenly became excited upon hearing Brad Ryan's name. There was anger and resentment written all over his face. because it was Brad who killed his own mother all those years ago. He was also the one who caused Clara's family to be destroyed. On this day after school, Clara once again approached Ryan. But shortly after the two of them walked out of the school gate, that familiar feeling came over Ryan again. He carefully observed the pedestrians around him. Finally, he fixed his gaze on a couple. The man among them was obviously a bug beast hidden among humans. Clara, who had just finished buying ice cream on the side, noticed that something was off about Ryan. She learned from Ryan's mouth. The man among the two in front is a bug beast. On the other side, Nami came to the hospital after school to visit Alice. But Alice didn't want anyone to see her current appearance. She directly told Nami to leave. But just as Nami was about to leave the hospital, a nurse walked past her. Nami couldn't help but take a second glance at such a beautiful woman. Shortly after, Alice in the ward noticed someone entering. She even thought it was Nami and immediately shouted at them. But when the person walked in, they saw that it was the same nurse as before. Do you want to become even more beautiful than before? I can help you. She then spat out a yellow egg from her mouth. Upon closer inspection, this is indeed the egg dropped by the explosive ant. Do you also want to get rid of those annoying people? I will help you make your wish come true. Then she put the egg into Alice's mouth, and Alice's body suddenly trembled. The woman watched gleefully as she reacted to the egg. A sudden intense pain emanated from Alice's body. This made her roar loudly involuntarily. Seeing Alice's appearance, the woman also became extremely excited. On the other side, Bug Beast's boyfriend took the girl to the swimming pool. Then, taking advantage of her off guard, he gave her a kick and pushed her into the pool. When the girl resurfaced, she found no trace of the man, unaware that there were eyes watching her underwater. It turned out that boyfriend had sneaked into the water without her noticing. She saw the man grinning. Then suddenly he grabbed her foot and made a throwing motion with force. The girl's head hit the bottom of the pool heavily, losing consciousness. The man looked at the girl floating up and complained about how troublesome it was to hunt every day. Then he opened his mouth wide, ready to eat the girl. However, at that moment, an ant suddenly crawled onto his face. Then the man turned his head towards the glass. It turned out that Ryan, who had turned into a black ant, had appeared here at some point. Ryan smashed the glass with one punch. Then he flew a leap. A heavy kick hit the man's stomach. This move directly embedded the man into the wall. But the man acted as if nothing happened. He got up and launched a counterattack against Ryan. Ryan solidly took this punch. While Ryan was knocked away, Clara had already set up a trap. Several silks appeared in front of the man, wrapping him up tightly in no time. Clara then rescued the girl from the water, who luckily just fainted and was not in danger. After settling the girl, Clara returned to Ryan's side. The man showed no fear at this point, questioning why they interrupted a meal of the same species. You are really bored. Do you know who I am? Ryan said he didn't care. You are just food in my eyes. Just as Ryan was about to consume him, Clara stopped him. She believed they could get some clues from the man. The man recognized Ryan as the fellow hunter Black Ant. I didn't expect you to have an ally, but you are not qualified to kill me, the man said as he began to transform into a bug. Clara was very confident in her silks, but the man completed his bug transformation, causing the silks to slowly split apart under strong light. The man's overwhelming momentum made Ryan feel shocked. Quick, get out of the way, Ryan warned, but it was too late. Countless air blades burst out from the man's body. Clara didn't have time to dodge and was hit on the shoulder. Ryan barely blocked the attack with Black Ant's sturdy armor. In the blink of an eye, the entire room was left with deep grooves from the air blades. Then another voice came from beside the two. Maybe you can handle ordinary bug beasts, but daring to lay hands on members of the Skyworm organization? You must be out of your minds. I am Camel from the Skyworm organization. If you don't believe me, you can try again. The two prepared for battle upon hearing this and rushed towards Camel. However, their moves were easily countered by the enemy. Camel's knife hand lightly skimmed the water's surface, leaving behind several afterimages. In an instant, he appeared behind the two. The blade energy emitted from Camel's knife hand pierced through the bodies of the two individuals directly. Injured Ryan could only let his body fall downward. Camel seized the opportunity, aiming his knife hand at the descending Ryan, but fortunately Clara reacted in time and bravely rescued him. At this moment, the two of them dare not be careless at all. It is obvious that this swimming pool is Camel's home court. Once you get close, you will be attacked. But just as Clara was thinking of a strategy to deal with this monster, Ryan on the side rushed up unexpectedly. At the same time, he reminded Clara to cover the swimming pool with your silk fabric. Although Clara didn't quite understand, but she still followed Ryan's instructions. Using Clara's silk as a fulcrum, Ryan ran towards Camo. He had to transform once again into Red and to have a chance at defeating him. Soon, Ryan rushed up to Camo. But before he could make a move, one of his antennae was cut off by the opponent. Ryan immediately punched back, but the opponent easily avoided it. And then Ryan's punches became faster and faster. His body started to gradually change color. He finally landed a punch on Camel's face after his continuous effort. Then he punched Camel's left arm. Then he hit Camel's right hand. He watched as Camel's two weapons slipped out of his hands. Ryan wanted to take this opportunity to finish off the opponent in one go. Unexpectedly, a blade wind suddenly swept past him. This directly cut off the armor on his face. At this moment, Camel not only fused the fallen knife hand into his legs, but also drew out two more powerful weapons behind him. This is my true strength. He swiftly moved behind Ryan. Ryan was also hit by Camel's cross slash. His armor instantly shattered, blood spraying out. Camel thought victory was at hand. He found that his weapons were entwined with a lot of blue silk. Clara suddenly appeared behind Camel. She tightly grabbed Silk with both hands while delivering a fierce blow with her knee to the back of Camel's head. Although her move damaged Camel's facial armor, but Clara was also pierced by the suddenly appearing light blade. Clara continued to control Silk despite the excruciating pain. She threw Camel's blade into the air. Ryan seized the opportunity and leaped up to catch the blade. He ruthlessly stabbed blade into Camel's chest, but it was not enough to kill the enemy. Just saw Camel swing another blade and chop towards Ryan. Ryan was powerless to escape. He could only use his arm to block this strike. The blade also plunged into half of his arm. Under the stalemate, Ryan dispatched a large number of ants to crawl towards Camel's wound. Camel, who was gnawed by the ants, immediately let out a terrifying scream. But as soon as he dealt with Camel, another unwelcome guest arrived. Ryan had just prepared to turn around and check the situation. He was punched in the face by the newcomer. Ryan was heavily smashed into the wall. Obviously, he had lost consciousness. Clara also didn't know when she was lying on the water. The man who had previously attacked Reaper's squad is here. He picked up Camel and did not continue to attack Ryan. Instead, he shot a card towards Ryan. The card reads Club 6.